All right, so this is an example of your 1.5 homework, number 10. And in this problem, it tells you that a toy manufacturer needs a piece of plastic in the shape of a right triangle. And just so happens they want the longer leg, and these are the legs, and this is the hypotenuse. If you draw it this way, that's kind of random. I just draw something to kind of sketch on. But these would be the legs, and then the hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle. And in this one example, it says that the longer leg, which I'm going to call this one, is 1 centimeter longer than the shorter leg. So I'm going to let the shorter leg be the basic unknown, and you can make a note even. I'm letting X stand in for the shorter leg, because that's kind of up to you. You're designing a problem, but that's what I've found works best, is if you find the basic unknown in the problem, like the one you know the least about, and then they sort of build on that. I usually let that be my X. Then the longer leg, 1 centimeter more than that. In my example, it says the hypotenuse is 2 centimeters more than the shorter leg. So the shorter leg, again, X, and then 2 centimeters more than that. So now I have something representing all the sides, and now I can use the Pythagorean theorem, which says side squared plus the other side squared always equals the hypotenuse squared. So I can plug in, it doesn't matter which order you put these in, but whenever there's two parts to it, it does need to be in a parenthesis. So when we square it, we'll need to FOIL that out or use the squaring pattern, and then equals the hypotenuse squared. All right, so again, these will need to be multiplied out either by FOILing x plus 1 times x plus 1, or there is sort of a squaring pattern. But for now, I'm just going to demonstrate it with the FOIL method and write it twice and FOIL it, because it's squared, that means timesing it by itself. All right, so the FOIL method would be first is x squared, outer is 1x, inner is also 1x, and the last times last is 1. Same deal over here, FOIL that out, and you have a bunch of terms there. So you need to clean that up, and it looks like it's going to be a quadratic, and you kind of know in 1.5 they're quadratics. So you want to bring everything to one side equal to 0. So I'm going to start just throwing terms across the line. If you wanted to, and you may have thought to do this, clean this up, you go ahead and call that 4x and 2x, 2x squared. You could do that first if you want to. But I'm just going to get it all over to one side and then do all my combining. So it'll be equal to a big 0. You need the quadratic and standard form equal to 0. So one of these sets of x squareds cancels, so you just got an x squared left. You've got a positive 1, that's 2, 2 minus 2, that zeroes that out, for a total of just minus 2x left, and then 1 minus 4 is minus 3. So it cleans up kind of nicely to a clean quadratic equation. Once you get a quadratic in standard form, then it's up to you to use one of the methods. If you like the quadratic formula, plug away in that way. Do your a is 1, b is -2, c is -3 to get your two answers. But a lot of these are factorable, so I'll do that. I do see that I could factor it into x times x, and then minus 3 times a positive 1 would FOIL the last to be a -3. Then the inner and the outer combine to be -2x, which is what I'm hoping to get there. So this would work. So now I see it does factor, and then I can set each factor equal to 0, and then solving each part basically just changes this sign because it moves across the line, makes positive 3 and -1. Then we look back at our problem and say, what's x supposed to represent? X represented, that shorter leg. And the question on this says list all the sides. So, and I'm not sure that it matters what order. I'm going to try and type these in as I'm looking and make sure that it doesn't matter. But I feel like you'll do maybe the legs first. So x equals 3 is the shorter leg. Then remember x plus 1, which would be 3 plus 1 is 4, is the longer leg. And then the hypotenuse, remember, was x plus 2. Now that we know x is 3, that makes 5. So it's 3, 4, 5. We call that a Pythagorean triple, by the way. The three numbers that work. So 3, 4, and 5. And so you should type those in. It does say to type it in and separate with a comma before I log off. I'm going to try that on the example I've got, make sure it likes the form. It did, gave me a good, and all is well. All right, hope that helps. Let me know if you have further questions.